watch the magic go down in the King's Court. The vibe's electric. If you don't like that, we're here to correct it. With the best in the game, we're raising the bar. From the hardwood to the airways, we're the King's shining star. Expect the unexpected. This is where it's at. From NBA insights to the latest chit-chat. Grab your popcorn, sit tight, we're ready to roll. In the heart of Sacktown, we're feeding your soul. In the King's Court, the vibe's electric. If you don't like that, we're here to correct it. With the best in the game, we're raising the bar. From the hardwood to the airways, we're the King's shining star. With the NFL, Adams in the ring. Rhino's got the wisdom, hear the praises we sing. Court in session, it's a royal affair. With the fans all around, feel the passion in the air. In the King's Court, the vibe's electric. If you don't like that, we're here to correct it. With the best in the game, we're raising the bar. From the hardwood to the airways, we're the King's shining star.
And the summer continues to fly by us. It is already June 9th. Before you know it, we're going to have NFL training camps. We are all even in the NBA finals heading back to Indy. Remember, this is not the classic 2-3-2 series. It's a 2-2-1-1 one series. So that makes a little bit of a difference on the heels of a great sports weekend, a somewhat historic sports weekend, which we will talk about. Daniel,
acknowledge me.
Acknowledge you. You ask, sometimes I will deliver. It is an
airing of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people. Now you're going to hear about it.
Meaning, something bugging you, something you need to get out. Get it out here. You can put it in the chat. You can call the show. We haven't had a ton of calls as of late. Let's pick that up. Don't be afraid to call in. You can argue with me. Tell me I am wrong. We've got plenty to go over. You've got NHL back tonight. I am super excited to watch tonight's game. I'll tell you why here in a few minutes. Also, the NCAA now has, well, I'm not even going to call it the NCAA. I'm going to say college sports, because the NCAA is a joke. They are a de facto project manager, property manager, and not even a project manager. That's a disrespect to project managers. They're a property manager. They basically make deals and distribute money, but they think they're in control of everything. There was a development. We've got now some more structure put into place with college athletics. We'll get into that in a little bit. If you remember, we talked, was it maybe a month and a half ago? Talked about some of the things facing college basketball, how coaches are now becoming salesmen. And I get that they were to a degree when you're recruiting players, but that was different. That's recruiting. That's basically selling the kid and selling his family, his parents, whoever it may be, that you are the right fit, not just for their next step in basketball, but to launch into life. Now it's just like, oh, how much money do you need? And but we can't pay you directly, but we've got some of these different deals lined up with boosters and sponsors. Well, there's some clarity now. We'll talk about it. I think it's important. It's the first step in many that they still need to take to get that all cleaned up. So anyways, like I said, get up in here. We've got some updates on the Kings. And Al, I prefer... I like this format. I like the 2-2-1-1-1. That's what I like. I guess because there's differences in the two, significant differences. I'm kind of partial to that because you could be a better team that doesn't have home court advantage. You steal one on the road, you can close out in 3. I like the back and forth factor. These cities aren't far apart, but a lot going on. A lot going on. So let's get to the rundown. Obviously, NBA Finals last night. If you caught our post-game show on that, that was an interesting show. We talked some basketball, but then we got into the greatest winner in sports since 1990. And where we stopped was Wayne Gretzky. So Grant and I will continue that conversation at some point. Speaking of Napes, join him tonight. He'll be back on 8 o'clock after the hockey game, which is also log jammed at 1-1 between the Panthers and Edmonton. And that one is going to be, again, a lot of fun. I can't wait to tell you about my experience. I actually attended game 2, kind of. I'll tell you about that here in a few minutes. But both games have gone to overtime. How about that? Pretty cool. So the finals last night, the Thunder Roll, the title of the show is there's one major adjustment that needs to be made for the Pacers to really have any chance in this series. And it's actually something that many of you as Kings fans are familiar with. It's a problem the Kings have had not so much this season, but they definitely had the problem last season. So we'll get into that as we go. Again, you are welcome to join the show at any time via the comments, via the phones. Love to have you in here. Kind of a weak Money in the Bank pay-per-view. If you watched that over the weekend, the Belmont Stakes, Sovereignty gets over journalism. You know, I picked sovereignty and journalism in the perfect order, and I got the third one wrong. That close. So that was a good horse race, good story there. So, all right, we'll keep doing the rundown. We'll keep talking finals in a second. We talked a little bit about the NCAA, and we've got some audio for you as well from the finals that we'll hit. This is, and here's kind of an overlay of what's going on. A judge approved the settlement that really kicks into effect immediately, not only for current athletes. You can't say student athlete anymore. Erase it from your vocabulary. They are athletes. They're athletes whose job is to perform on the field and make their meetings. Like, is school any more than a meeting now? I get school's important. Everybody's not going to be going to the NFL, NBA, etc. But that's where this all gets a little bit jumbled to me. At what point are the athletes going to unionize? At what point are the athletes going to say, well, I'm being paid to perform on the field? You're not paying anybody else just to attend class. I guess you can make the argument that if you're on scholarship, you're being paid to attend class if you're a regular student. But I could see this school part of it getting murky. Really what this is, and I'm fine with it for the most part, especially from a structure sense for the coaches. And it's nothing new. Now you can schools can officially pay the players officially. Like, it hasn't been going on for years. Like, we haven't seen this gray area right now in this wild, wild west that's known as NIL, where it's like, oh, well, we guaranteed him this much. I mean, a sponsor guaranteed him this much that we lined up. So you get it. So there is some further structure. This is the big thing you need to know. It's going to current and past athletes. And there is a amount that you can spend. It's why schools now have general managers. Wes Wilcox left the Kings to be the general manager of the University of Utah. So we'll dig into it more in depth as the show goes, but that is the big highlights that you need to know from it. So let's get to you, and then we'll start getting into the NBA Finals. As I said, we've got some audio from that game. I have some thoughts as well. Some concern for the Pacers. And I think seeing what Oklahoma City has done to them physically on the defensive side of the ball, coming off of a series where the Pacers were able to play that style with New York at times. They were able to enforce their will. New York considered one of the more physical teams in the NBA. That seems like they were playing against junior high kids defensively versus what's happening right now in the NBA Finals. They are getting muscled up on the perimeter. And Tyrese Halliburton had success, but the difference is who's the strongest defender in New York on the perimeter? Are you going to maybe argue a Josh Hart? Maybe in that range. Josh Hart might be at the bottom of the list when it comes to strength in perimeter defenders in Oklahoma City's rotation, which is nuts. And it makes it even more impressive of what Brunson was able to do at times in that series. So anyways, we'll get all into that. I think you know the adjustment that I'm going to submit for all of your consideration, but it is really super fascinating what's going on in the finals. Tyrese Halliburton really, outside of some, minutes that where the game was pretty much out of control, it was going to be lost anyways, put some points up. He gets the game winner in game one. Now, I'm not knocking the Pacers. You can go both ways on this, but Oklahoma City really has shown defensively, they are a different animal. You have to put them in a completely different category than any other team in the NBA when it comes to that, because Halliburton cannot get by anybody right now. And here's the other thing. They're making Hali play defense. Not enough people are talking about that. Hali has to play defense in this series. Flores, that's interesting. Seems like collegiate athletes will serve as an academy for professional sports. If they remove the student from student athlete, I just hope the NCAA just lays out. Just do what I said at the start of the show. No more of these investigations, because at the end of the day, who has jurisdiction anymore? We've seen conferences come out and suspend coaches before the NCAA does. What the NCAA basically does is frivolously spends the money that should be distributed to the schools from the TV deals, sponsorship deals, etc., in their portions. That's really what they do. So don't take away from that pot if you're going to try to run up millions and millions of dollars in lawsuits over stupid stuff that half the time you can't enforce anyways. It's nuts. They're just burning their wheels. I think they're just trying to stay employed. And you could take it to the next level where you could say, well, is the NCAA even have any power at all? There's courts. There's people lobbying legislators, federal legislators, to look into that, to see if the NCAA itself as an entity violates federal antitrust laws. So it's a really interesting conversation. But again, we're going to go more into depth on that. I think it's important to give some context there. Progressive, just with a 1. What's up? 1. And don't forget, we have grievances too. I know Flores
the airing of
usually
grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people. Now you're going to hear about it.
My grievances this week are kind of all over the place, but they're very relatable. I think all of you will find yourself going, yeah, that's so annoying. And they're organic. They're things from this week, not pulling them out of my back pocket, not getting them from the notebook. Tristan likes the 4-3. Agree. Daniel, can I ask you a question, Daniel? Are you Kimberly's Daniel? Do we know each other, Daniel? Yes or no? Even amateur sports has now become all about money, not competition, not getting an education. You know the scary part for me, Progressive? I think there is some balance there. You've seen some fairly high-profile athletes who, whether they get their degree or not, they're set for life financially. And I'm not talking about guys that are on Supermax deals or MVPs of leagues. I'm talking about your mid to upper tier players that go back, get their degrees. That's awesome. I think there should be more than that. Encourage that. Why not? If you're the school, let them come back for free if you want to. And maybe, well, no, that's not a good idea. Let's cut that from the record before I even think about saying it. But I guess the more disturbing thing is you see more players now talking about what what's it going to look like after I'm done playing? Because it's a drastic change for these guys who are so regimented, who are so routine based. In fact, a lot of what they do is laid out by somebody else, whether it's their team, whether it's their trainers, etc. And then you come out of 10, 12, 15 years of that, and you have all the time in the world, and a lot of decisions are on your plate now. My worry is that almost every athlete, it seems, has in the back of their head, oh, I'm just going to go into broadcasting. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go into broadcasting. I think it's great that Jaime Jaquez right now is a player journalist at the finals. The NBA asked him if he wanted to do that. He's dipping his toe in the water and thinking about after basketball. But just like pro sports, there's only so many of those jobs. Yes, as streaming continues to grow and podcasts continue to be the number one source for news here in America, yeah, you can start your own thing. You'll get a little bit of traction, but will it take care of you the rest of your life? So I would like to see a push from some of these institutions to get their kids back in school if they come out early. And you might see on the back end too, depending on how the money, and the money is going to be, think about this now, NIL deals. NIL, that was up. And although the team usually had a decent say in some of those, especially in recruiting pitches, we've seen guys like the Florida player who was promised some, I forget what the amount was. We talked about it on the show. It was in the millions of dollars. It was $2 or $3 million. He was promised an NIL to sign with the school, and the sponsor was not able to fund it. So he transferred at the last second. Now schools, they don't have that buffer when it comes to, oh, well, it's a booster. It's our NIL committee. It is a business outside of us that's paying you. We might have introduced you to that business, but we're not the ones paying you. Now you're getting basically $23 million, up to $23 million to split amongst your athletes. So the school is actually going to be choosing who gets paid more. And now that might create an interesting dynamic in the locker rooms between these players. They feel like they're more valuable. They feel like, oh, he's getting paid. Why am I only getting $500 a week? You could see how that could kind of break out, but it's part of the growing pains of this. But I guess if this continues to grow, what I was getting at is maybe guys will stay in school and gals will stay in school longer because they can make as much money during their time in school. And I guess, see, it's just a whole different world. The way that you, and I call it bubble your athletes, it changes dramatically for the institution. If you're paying them, they're employees. You have to treat them like employees now. So anyways, I'm not going to get into the law side of it, but I think it's really interesting. We will kind of lay out exactly what the ruling does. We got to the format already on the NBA Finals. Flores caught last night's replay after Game 2. Good show. Yeah, that was a good show. It is a best of 5. What are you thinking? One cool thing from the show last night is I told Grant, I'm like, those two buildings, the OKC building and the field house in Indiana, they feel like the last two that are somewhat like Arco Arena or were somewhat like Arco Arena. And he's like, yeah, no, absolutely. They are. So it's fun watching games in those types of atmospheres, at least for me. Progressive, too many NBA player podcasts, way too many. Why not? It's a way to have a platform and maybe make a little bit of money. Sure. Guys in the NBA make so much money these days. They're basically set for life after their rookie contracts. If they're responsible with it, you don't know if they're going to be responsible or not. I don't have you do have a grievance. All right, Flores, first
The
in with
airing
a
of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people. Now you're going to hear
His
about it.
grievance is with the schedule. I agree with you. Who decides the rest? Sometimes it's 2 days. Sometimes it's 3 days, even without travel. We talked about it last week. It's a complicated time of year. You've got the draft about 2 weeks out. You've got the Stanley Cup final going on, which I talked about briefly at the beginning of the show. But make sure you check that out tonight. That's going to be a heck of a game in Florida. Between two just incredible teams. And oh my gosh, I don't know if I told you, but I was like basically at the game on Friday night. It was incredible. Is Kevin Porter a viable backup point guard for the Kings to consider? 24, maybe. I think you said something, Peter, that I had kind of had in the back of my mind. They need two of them. And so I immediately look and I'm like, well, could Devin maybe be that guy? Might they try to do the backup by committee? How's that going to work? Because everybody should be working on their handles, control the controllables. I don't know. I guess do the Kings. First off, you've got to get one.
Well, the biggest thing is we need a point guard. That's for sure.
But do you go for one really good one or two solid ones? Assuming you can get a couple. All right. Let's talk finals. Then we will shift to the NCAA. We will mix in some grievances as we go along. 5 games, a best of 5 series now between the Thunder and the Pacers. SGA, check it out. Joined a very exclusive list last night of players score over 3,000 in a season. Jordan, Chamberlain, Doncic, Harden. Harden's a weird one, right? So he never plays that deep into the playoffs. Durant, Bryant, O'Neal, McAdoo, Abdul-Jabbar, Barry, and Baylor. Add Gilgeous Alexander to the list. Crazy. Here is your calls from last night from the local broadcasters.
Leonard Williams catching, popping, contains him. Listen, no look inside to Hogan for the big two-hand rim rocker. Timeout Pacers. Oh, what a setup by K-Rich.
Shea, left wing off the inbound. Back in Matherin, banging, grinding, spinning, elevates and fades. 12-foot jumper on the way. Money. Shea says too small. He got 27. Love that. They only lost 2 in a row twice in the regular season. They have yet to lose back-to-back games in this playoff run. The NBA Finals are tied at 1 game apiece.
Yet to lose back-to-back games in the playoff run. That's impressive by Oklahoma City, considering who they have played. I said last night I thought they've turned a corner. They did turn a corner in Game 4 of the last series against the Nuggets. Or 2 series ago, against the Nuggets. That was a big road win for them. And the road has been, believe it or not, their bugaboo, according to their numbers throughout the playoffs. I've talked about them coming into this series with a negative net rating on the road. The Pacers, their net rating is within 3 points, home and road, and both are positive. So all that said, if you're the Thunder, I don't know that you can get better performances out of your role players. You've established one thing. Your physicality, it just can't be matched. And Indiana came from a series, like I said, where they were matching physicality with New York at times. Although they wanted to get more up-tempo, up-pace, they were able to run them off the court. That's the thing about the Thunder right now. They're that hybrid. They'll run with you. And in fact, I would argue the Thunder have done it so much better through 2 games. Look at the numbers. Caruso had a massive game again last night. Aaron Wiggins. You remember that name? He dropped 41 on the Kings earlier this season. Comes through with 18. So I look at this Thunder bench. I thought the starter production somewhat evened out. I thought that's what you can expect. Maybe a couple more points, maybe a couple less from Chet Holmgren. Williams, very good game. thing about him, he can shoot that 3 ball still. We haven't seen much of that from him in this series. Lou Dort, I don't expect a ton. I don't expect the world out of him. I don't think you're going to get 15. I think you might ask for a little bit more than 3, but the difference were the benches last night in this one. 48-34. The Thunder's bench outscored the Pacers bench. And think about what Jalen Brunson was able to do at times against the Pacers. And then also think about some of the struggles Jalen Brunson had defensively, or had trying to get a good, clean pick and roll, get an advantage against the Pacers defense. He struggled at times during that series to make that happen. SGA, it's like a warm knife going through butter. He's getting to every spot that he wants, and he's getting his guys open looks. And both teams are deep. There's no argument about each team's depth. However, I think there's an argument about the expectations for both of these teams when it comes to their benches. I look at Indiana's bench, and I think I know the max that I can get out of Obi Toppin, the max I can get out of TJ McConnell. Like, I think I know where that ceiling is at. I'm not going to go player by player. But the Thunder's bench, I don't have any clue where to start. I think Caruso is probably right around his max right now. He drops 20 last night, 4 of 8 from beyond the arc. It blows me away when I look at an Aaron Wiggins come off the bench and score 18 in an NBA freaking finals. Did Aaron Wiggins even play in game 1? I know he played a little bit, but not meaningful minutes. Same thing with Isaiah Hartenstein. Dude only put up 3 points, and he was a plus 17. If the Thunder are going to win this series, SGA is going to get his. No doubt about it. But it's the bench. It's the other guys that the Pacers are going to have to control. Rick Carlisle basically said as much last night when it came to controlling the other players. He basically said, yeah, SGA 34, he's going to get that. Sorry, he's just going to get that. That's Rick Carlisle saying he's going to get that. The guy who's had an adjustment for everything so far this postseason on this run for the Pacers. In fact, here was Coach Carlisle last night after the game.
It is, it's not easy to make the playoffs. It's not.
Oh, excuse me. It's Alex Caruso. We'll go to Caruso in a second. I thought those were interesting comments. Here was Coach Carlisle.
First of all, Wiggins and Caruso played great. Those guys played great. I thought the atmosphere, I thought their crowd was exceptionally great. And so as we go home, we're going to need our crowd to be just like this crowd was. I mean, these fans took it to another level tonight, and that's how Gainbridge is going to have to be, for us to have a chance to be successful. And Caruso and Wiggins, as you mentioned, both those guys shot it well. They caused other problems. They ran well. They made plays. They got a great feel for when to cut, and they hurt you in a lot of different ways. And so, Shea, you can mark down 34 points before they even get on the plane tomorrow, for the next game. I mean, the guy's going to score. We gotta find ways to make it as tough as possible on him. Williams played really well tonight. All their guys played well, and so we're gonna have to do a lot of things better.
First row. Scott Agnes Fieldhouse Files. I'm curious.
So a couple things on that really quick about containing the other guys. The double is coming super late for SGA. In fact, I would also say the double is coming inconsistently. It looks like Indiana is trying to run a similar system to what Boston did last year with Luka, and it's not working. It's a read-based system. If he's in a certain area of the court, there's certain guys that can go. So that has hurt them. greatly. And on the other side of the floor, the Thunder can switch 1 through 5 many times, and those switches are clean. Like you blink your eye and you don't even realize there was a switch. They muscle up. They're not really doubling. They haven't had to, and we'll get to that side of things. But because Indiana is struggling defensively on how to guard SGA, it's opening up wide open looks for everybody else. I think if Indiana, just like what Coach Carlisle said, if you can try to keep SGA somewhat away from the basket, if he's getting to the basket and stepping back in the mid-range, good night. It's done. But if you can keep him a little bit more on the perimeter, you make it tougher for the role guys. And when role guys are hitting shots like Alex Caruso was, like Wiggins was, you're taking the ball out. And credit to Indiana, they've continued to try to push the pace in those situations, but it kills the absolute flow of the game. Coach Carlisle again.
Talk a lot about disposition and physicality. How do you feel like your team handled that? Because obviously the Thunder seem to ramp up their intensity much more.
Not well.
Last question here.
Hey, Coach. With like 3 minutes, 40 seconds left on the clock, you took the main guys out. Can you maybe take us a little bit through the decision making? When you decide, okay, it's over now, we're not trying to the very end.
Okay, sometimes the more you know moment, we always point these out. Want to get your credential ripped? That's a good way to do it. You should see Coach's face right now.
How do you come up with these decisions?
Yeah, it's just, NBA coaching, sometimes you have to make tough decisions.
Pascal, right. Bob Kravitz with Indianapolis.
Anyways, Coach Carlisle, we do have some Tyrese Halliburton audio. By the way, this is not the real Tyrese Halliburton, and it's clean enough that I can play it. These things crack me up. AI sometimes gets it right. They got this one right. Here's Tyrese, quote unquote. Here's AI Tyrese after last night's game.
I want everyone to please call me Angel Reese instead of Tyrese from now on, because I start stat padding when my team goes down 20, just like Angel Reese does. I got locked up like Diddy the entire game. And then when they stopped caring, I started padding my stats. I'm not going to let the Twitter trolls get the best of me, so I had to make it look like I had a good game.
That was not Tyrese Halliburton. Just to be clear, that was not Hali. Isn't it so good? When they keep them fairly clean to where you can play them, it's decent content. Not going to lie to you. So, again, getting back to the Pacers, here's my concern. And this is the biggest adjustment that Coach Carlisle is going to have to try to make. Because through the first couple, the pick and roll game at times is non-existent for the Pacers. Everybody's loving the AI. Yeah. The football ones seem to get a little bit more adventurous. Let's put it that way. The Pacers are not running really much of a clean pick and roll. When they are, it's not with the guys that you usually want in the pick and roll, like Tyrese Halliburton. Hali himself has said he doesn't feel like he's playing his best, or a possession hasn't started unless he gets his feet in the paint. And they have pushed Hali around. Now, Halliburton's a playmaker. He's not usually a guy that's making plays for himself, although in the postseason, he has been clutch as hell and able to do that in spots. Give him credit. He did it in game one while also having a very rough game. Those are moments. You need more consistency. So the adjustment that the Pacers are going to have to make, and it's an adjustment that the Kings dealt with the 46 win year. It's trying to find ways for guys who are not good creators, guys that need, basically guys that are finishers. You need to find a way for them to be able to create their own shot. What I'm saying is you're going to have to find or tweak your lineup to get Halliburton going more downhill, because Hali is not able to create any space right now. And it's not just him. It's really the entire roster. 37 made buckets last night for the Pacers. 37 made buckets. 27 were assisted. So, yeah, they're playing good team basketball, but there's a balance at times. You got to have a guy that can get his. You got to have a guy that can make space. You have to have a guy that can demand the defense's attention, just like SGA does. Now, I'm not asking Hali, because he's not SGA, to demand the same attention, but we've seen Hali definitely affect games all postseason. But the muscle is bugging him. It's bugging Siakam. Both of them have had slow games. So whatever you need to do, if you are Rick Carlisle, this series, in my opinion, hinges on your ability to make that adjustment, to get those guys not playing in phone booths anymore. Sure, you don't turn the ball over as much. That's going to help. You defend a little bit better. That's going to help. Create turnovers. That's going to help. But you need more than that. And I think the Pacers are capable of it. Remember, the Pacers made the Thunder adjust in game 1 before the ball was even tipped. The Thunder put Case and Wallace in the starting lineup for Isaiah Hartenstein, late scratch, right? So make them adjust again. And I think the guy that's got to be on the court with Hali, we've seen it in short spurts here in the series. I think the guy has to be TJ McConnell. You've got to get somebody else that can create a little bit more space. TJ has a little bit more muscle to him. Him and Hali can play together. TJ gets to the corners. He gets to the paint. He's been able to do it in this series. So if you're going to have a chance, I think you have to have a combination of those two on the court for more minutes. I also think you got to play your guys more minutes, especially as Flores pointed out with the breaks in these series or in these games. Siakam only played 30 last night. Nesmith, 26. Turner, 27. 32 for Nembhard, and Halliburton, 34. You got to play him more minutes. Now, I get why Rick Carlisle is going with the Nesmith-Nembhard combination. He's trying to match the muscle on Oklahoma City. I'm conceding that. Sure, you're going to have a difficult time with Hartenstein. Most teams do. But I'm not worried about Chet Holmgren for the most part. I'm confident in the way Miles Turner can guard him. So that's where I think Indiana needs to go a little bit smaller. The big lineup has not worked for them. The muscle has not worked. You've got to switch to the quickness. And I think TJ McConnell is the guy that you have to lean on a little bit more for the ball handling responsibilities, not for every possession, but to start possessions at times. Remember how many times we needed De'Aaron Fox to get moving? Excuse me. Remember how many times the Kings would need to draw up plays to get De'Aaron Fox coming downhill in the half court? You got to do the same with Hali right now. You have to, because if you don't have a creator right now that can create their own shot on this Indiana team consistently. Usually it's a Siakam, usually it's a Halliburton, but whatever it's been through 2 games, you got to give Oklahoma City the credit, especially with their defensive numbers, historic numbers this season. That's where the credit goes. But that to me is the adjustment, because if you are scoring only 37 buckets and 27 are assisted, that's going to be really, really tough. Both teams shot the exact same amount of shots, 82 shots last night for both teams. Here was Alex Caruso after the game. He was asked, what's it like to be back in the NBA Finals? Do you take it for granted? Do you savor it? Here was his response.
It is. It's not easy to make the playoffs. It's not easy to win a series. It's not easy to advance to the finals. Like, all that shouldn't be taken for granted. And, I keep seeing people for the first time this postseason, like people that I know or or don't know, and they say congratulations. And I truly don't want them to tell me congratulations until the series is over and we've won. Like, I don't feel like we've accomplished anything until we win 4 games. And that's just kind of the mindset I have, because like you said, getting here isn't guaranteed. You know, you're not, nobody gets a free pass. Nobody gets an extended welcome. You know, you have to earn it every time.
No doubt about it. He is savoring the moment. We also had some other things going on yesterday. Here was some talk from the ESPN guys.
I think at home we're going to see a real big Halliburton game. He hasn't had one yet.
I don't believe he can, to be honest with you. I mean, we have to talk. We have to think of who we're talking about right now. We're talking about one of the best defensive teams in NBA history. We're talking about a team that just made the best player in the world, Nikola Jokic, have the worst series of his career.
He still had a couple good games.
He had 2 out of 7. And then we just watched him shut down Anthony Edwards. And these are guys that are known as elite scorers. Tyrese Halliburton is not known for elite scorer. He only averaged 18 points in this playoffs. And when you have guys like Alex Caruso and Luke Dorsey, Cason Wallace, all these guys are being thrown at you. I don't know if he's capable of having one of those monster scoring nights.
Don Nelson last night, by the way, I'm going to throw you some NBA updates here really quick. Don Nelson was honored with the Lifetime Achievement Award. Check that out, from the NBA Coaches Association. He had a press conference, or was part of the pregame availability. He was asked about Luka and the trade. Here's what he had to say.
And Luka, too, my dear friend. As a matter of fact, I want everybody to know I'm wearing Luka's shoes, his new shoes from Nike. They just got on the market, and I'm wearing them in protest for the trade from Dallas. I think it was a tremendous mistake by the Dallas franchise to trade him, and I want everybody to.
He wants everybody to know that. So good for Nelly. Looking good, looking lean, gold chain like always. Good to see him out at the finals. Speaking of Dallas, you've still got the open New York Knicks coaching position. By the way, today, the Kings, so I transition really quick. These are the guys that they are working out. So there's your list for today. If you want to know more about the process and what the Kings, Grant and I went into it last night, what this draft process is going to look like, or what it's looked like so far, and why that is, with the Kings only holding the 42nd pick. Basically, in short, my response is the Kings, I would be looking more at the undrafted guys. You might get a gem at 42. Very, very, very unlikely. Very unlikely. Especially with this team's luck as of late. But this is a summer between, well, you don't even have the California Classic. With your summer training camp, not the team, not the official team training camp, but the summer team training camp before Vegas, I would be filtering through a decent amount of players. I would also have my eyes on players in Vegas, because you're not going to probably get anybody that's a free agent that's going to contribute this year. But what you might be able to keep your eye on is another guy like an Isaac Jones. Another guy like, and you're not, again, going to get a Keon Ellis. I think he's a little bit of an exception. But one thing the Kings have done a really good job of, that's developing talent. It's finding and developing it. So that's, to me, what they are looking at. Now, you do have one point guard on the list, a couple of shooting guards. Remember, they have to fill out a summer league roster. And, you know, we put up the roster on who's coming back. I would expect Devin Carter to be playing in summer league. I would not expect Keon Ellis to be back in there. Would not expect Keegan Murray to be back in there. So the Kings have a lot of spots to fill out. Now, they're non-guaranteed contracts, but the Kings need to make the most of those contracts when it comes to getting looks at as many players as you can. So that'll be interesting to see. But getting back to the coaching search in New York, it relates back to Dallas because reports are Jason Kidd is one of the guys that New York's interested in. If you're Jason Kidd, do you want to leave the Dallas situation for New York? Here's Brian Windhorst.
I would describe this as there's mutual intrigue on both sides. And also, I know there's this whole thing about asking for permission. You don't ask for permission to hire another team's coach. When you ask, you're going to hire them. So essentially, when the Knicks express interest, the ball will be in the Mavericks' court. And they have three options as I see it. One, they can just say, no, thank you very much. Jason, we'll see you in the fall. Look forward to the season. Look forward to Cooper Flagg. They can try to make Jason Kidd have zero interest in the Knicks, possibly with the new contract. They did just give him an extension last year. Or they can negotiate a trade. And we have seen a handful of trades of coaches over the last 15 to 18 years, including Jason Kidd being traded from the Brooklyn Nets to the Milwaukee Bucks for 2 second-round picks 11 years ago. So it's not like Jason Kidd hasn't been in this situation before.
We talked last week when Coach Tibbs was fired. And I posed this question to Jerry. With this changing environment in the NBA right now, Grant and I talked about it too last night. In some ways, although New York is a very lucrative job, it is a pressure-filled job, both on and off the court, with an owner who has been better over the past couple of years, but yet still very unreliable and erratic. Seen a lot of coaching turnover, and one thing that you'll continue to see, with the exception of your unicorns like Oklahoma City, who had built up until this point for a CBA. If they didn't build for the CBA, but they might as well have said, we're building towards what we think the CBA is going to be, because they have a legit shot at winning a few titles during this. Most teams are going to be changing things up constantly. Basically, what I'm saying, windows are going to be smaller. So if you have a smaller window to win, the owners are going to have a lot more tolerance when it comes to firing in coaches and eating that pay. So Jerry said, yeah, it's better to be in a rebuild. You have more job security. And I agree with him. I think whoever comes into that New York job, if it does not work year one, and I mean, doesn't work in a way like you make the play-in, you don't make the playoffs, you're fired. There's a good chance you make it into the second round and lose. You're fired. Now, you still got a lot of pressure in Dallas with the Luka trade. Now, not directly on Jason Kidd's shoulders. That's all on Nico Harris, who really fell on the sword for the owner, who didn't want to pay Luka. But I guess the point being, if I'm a coach, how desirable is that New York job? I don't think it's that desirable. Sure, the money's there. Grant and I talked about that last night. Funny enough, Frank Isola, Brian Scalabrine, hit that this morning on their show, the starting five or the starting lineup on NBA radio. Here was their conversation about the same.
I do want to hear about it, though. Any chance that people are looking at this job the way I am, like, not sure I want to get involved in that?
This is what they're looking at, Brian.
Yeah.
Money. That's what they're looking
It's
at.
a lot, right?
Money.
If I'm going to that dumpster fire, it's going to take a lot of money, because you know that you could do well and you can get fired. Like, that's.
I know. Players weren't happy. Were you unhappy having a career year, which basically all five guys in the starting lineup did? Were you unhappy going to a conference finals? I would think that everyone on the team would be unhappy with losing in Game 6 and not being able to get a chance to play to go to the finals in a Game 7. And I would think everyone would be unhappy in Game 1. And we said this the morning after Game 1, a loss like that falls on everybody. So to start like assigning blame, everyone gets blamed for that one, for Game 1. So
tough.
They weren't happy. The players were unhappy. If players aren't happy going to a conference finals, and if the organization's done that for the first time in 25 years, that's not good. That's not good.
Of course, only New York fan can pick apart their best year, best 2 years. 50-win seasons. This year, their most successful year since 1999. Only New York fan can pick that apart. It's funny to me. The NBA and markets, it's an incredible thing. Haunted Horse chiming in. Get paid tens of millions to work 1 year and get fired. Sign me up. Or you could go the Scott Perry route. worked for Vivek, which, by the way, hey, we have not had any internet issues, knock on wood, here in the last week or so. But Vivek's videos have stopped. It's interesting. We haven't gotten an update from Vivek. We have no more Vivek content. He's laid out. Or maybe he told his whole story. So you could go the Scott Perry route, work for him. Be the guy that's the face, but not making the decisions. Up to you. So, anyways, it is
The airing of grievances.
airing of
I got a lot of
grievance
problems with you people. Now you're going to hear about it.
All right. I got to get to my first grievance. I think it's something that many of you can relate to if you own a home. It's kind of that insurance policy when it comes to your junk. Oh, gosh. Haunted Horse is going to go get that. I know he is. Inside joke there. No update from Vivek tour. I know. No update. What are we going to do? I got to fill extra time on the show, Tristan. So anyways, something you can relate to when it comes to accumulating your stuff. It's like, okay, well, we get a few of these every year, so maybe we'll keep that around a little bit longer. Bulky waste pickups. If you're a homeowner, you know about the bulky waste pickup. Most counties here in this area, we are in Sacramento County, city of Elk Grove. So I think it goes by city. Most cities here in the area will allow you to schedule up to 2 bulky waste pickups per year. So it's like, okay, spring cleaning. Luckily here in the city of Elk Grove, yes, you have insurance for your junk. I knew something like that would be coming.
Ooh, that's a great question.
Come on, man. Comedy hour here for Haunted Horse. There you go. Dun-dun-dun. Anyways, depending on your city, you can schedule them sooner rather than later. So this last week, we had a bulky waste pickup. And for me, the bulky waste pickup, and by the way, if you're not familiar with them, it looks just like that. And look, in fact, that looks like it was taken from right in front of my house. It wasn't. But you can put out like 5 by 5 yards of stuff from the garage that you no longer need. It's an awesome thing. I take it a step further. I usually put out some free stuff aside from the pile. In fact, I put out like 10 plus pairs of shoes in the driveway with a sign, free. I put out some King stuff with a sign, free. Come and grab whatever you want, right? Help me make sense of this. Along with the bulky waste pickups, you know what else comes? The people that are pickers. Yes, pickers. They wait until the sun goes down. They show up. And no, we're not going to look at the stuff that says free. We're going to dig through that pile of junk to see if there's something that you think is trash to us that's treasure. I don't have a problem with it. Here's the problem that I have. Here's the grievance that I have. If you're going to dig through the pile, put the pile back. I have that pile measured out perfectly to make sure we don't get dinged for the extra charge. But these guys never, and gals, put the pile back. In fact, they spread the pile out. We're a corner house, and the pile was protruding into the street. So after you put your pickup out, you've got to go back out there 3, 4, 5 more times. Oh, and by the way, for the inconvenience, I'm giving you a free pair of shoes too. Come on, man. Am I the only one that's dealt with this? I can't be the only one. It's not like we do things to keep people away from the pile, but I'm going to start do things to keep people away from the pile if they don't put it back as they found it. I had to take my butt to the street at 10 o'clock in the night or at night to flip a table back over to become compliant again. So for me, that is a
The
big
airing of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people. Now you're going to hear about it.
Got another one. I do have. I'm saving the banger in my back pocket because I can't be the only one. Vivek should put Zach Levine out in the parking lot with a free sign around the neck. Horse, no. Only 5x5. You get a bigger one, huh? You know what? I will say this. The time that you have to spend to go to the dump, number one, and the dump stinks. The dump has the most distinct smell that you don't get anywhere else but the dump. But it's expensive to go there. So if you want to make your pile bigger, it's only like $40. But I don't want to get dinged for the $40 if I'm compliant. Bulk waste isn't supposed to be put on the curb until the night before pickup. We do it every time. The night before pickup, Peter. We're dragging stuff out from like 3 o'clock to, if you noticed last Thursday, there was no King's Court and we had a post-game show for the NBA Finals. I was dragging stuff out into the streets. Yeah, the dumps, man, they've just got a really distinct smell. Like just a smell that you don't smell anywhere else. So, anyways, I can't. Come on, man. The Zach Levine comment. What are we doing? By the way, hockey tonight, if you are interested. Also, Napes tonight. I said I was kind of at the hockey game. Let me expand a little bit. I was able to watch the game. Have you ever seen those Cosm restaurants? There's only 2 of them. There's one in LA and there's one that is in Dallas. And basically they bring the VR, like if you have a VR headset, they bring that to life without you needing to put the headset on. And it looks like you are at the game. Well, the NHL has partnered with an app called X Stadium, where you are able to either be sitting in a box right there at center ice or behind each of the goalies for the entire game. And on top of that, you get the TNT broadcast on like a screen. You are in the arena. It was incredible. I feel like I attended a hockey game. I can't wait to go back tonight to Florida. You've got your own bathroom. It's perfect. You should check it out if you have the ability to. Either way, check out the game. It's going to be a fun one. That series also tied at 1. People are the worst. I don't have a problem with people. I just have a problem with people that, you know what I mean. Not for bulk pickup, but when we moved, we had a free pile of baby stuff out, and it was a mess, right? One guy took baby carrier, but not the base. People kept dumping out boxes. Exactly. It's like if you're going to dump it out, at least put it back. Liam needs his Red Ryder double action carbine from a Christmas store. Yes, you're right. You're right. Well, you know what? We do have something that's similar that's going to come up in the next grievance that we're going to air here in a little bit. Hey, Sacktown, it's hot down there. It's 95 here right now. What is it right now in Sac? I don't have it on my computer. It's been hot the last couple of weeks. 92, Peter says. All right, let's talk about the NCAA really quick. We already kind of went over some of the broad things about this settlement that a judge finally signed off on. Doesn't change a ton about college sports, but it does, in a sense, put some more structure in place. Now, I use the word structure very, very loosely because it's still kind of the Wild West. with dates added to it. There was a pending settlement on a big lawsuit. It was House versus the NCAA. It was awaiting a judge to sign off, which the judge finally did on the 6th. U.S. District Judge Claudia Wilkin approved the landmark $2.8 billion settlement. Here's what it does. Schools can officially pay players directly. The water's wet, coffee's hot, sky's blue. Okay, great. Now it's formal. It's been happening for a long time. At least we know that. So schools can now pay players. Here's the important things. Starting July 1st, NCAA Division I schools can directly pay athletes up to $20.5 million annually. A cap that will increase also by 4% each year, and it's a 10-year agreement. So it's going to increase 4% annually over the next 10 years. It's a massive, massive shift for the NCAA when it comes to quote unquote amateurism. Does this mean the NCAA gets the hell out of the way now? Can anybody tell me now that this is in place, what the NCAA does besides negotiate TV rights deals and put on a tournament? They have no more. I don't see how they have authority. Like, if they try to come out and punish people, I think that day has passed. And I think we are getting closer and closer. We are stepping closer and closer to the NCAA not existing anymore. There's already arguments that the NCAA itself as an institution violates antitrust law. Could the conferences, who are basically running things, some teams have their own networks. Many conferences have their own networks outside of the NCAA's deal. So who's to say the conferences cannot put up their commissioners, put them all together on a council for sports, or for what do we even call college sports anymore? It's college sports, right? Can we still college sports? It's still applicable because you could be a professional playing in college because you're representing a college, but there's no more student athlete. None of that. Scholarships are an afterthought now. Scholarships are now, I don't want to say guaranteed, but a conversation doesn't even start until a scholarship's on the table. So revenue sharing, starting July 1st, 2025. So some of these dates are coming up really soon, like already coming up, as in Wednesday. So we'll get to a few of those. The other important part about this is there's a back payment. Approximately $2.7 billion will be distributed over the next 10 years to former athletes who competed between 2016 and 2024. Yo, Dorian, I don't know how old you are, and I don't want to put an age on you, my man, but I know you played football at Sac State. If you played between 2016 and 2024, you might be entitled to some money from the NCAA. So it's compensating them for missed NIL opportunities. Football and men's basketball players at major programs are expected to receive the largest payouts, potentially in the 5 or 6 figure range. Now, here's my concern. Y'all remember when Title IX came about, and the idea was that we're going to expand women's sports to match men's sports, equality. They deserve better accommodations than they're getting. They don't have the same training facilities. You remember Title IX? The idea was it was going to spread out. What did many schools do? They started shutting down men's programs for sports. Yeah, because I believe, Haunted Horse, the case was part of somebody that played in 2016, or somebody tagged on. This whole thing started, if you remember all the way back, really where this started was with Ed O'Bannon and the college basketball video game. That's where it really started. And it snowballed to where they are today. Now, I'm not saying this ties directly to the case, but the case that the arguments that athletes should be paid really picked up steam, and the public opinion changed to a degree as well. So the back payments, great. But when it comes to distributing this $20.5 million, I think you're going to see some sports cut. Sports that are not profitable. Unfortunately, we already saw it once with Title IX. I think especially now with the conferences and the way that some of these teams have to travel, the expense. Have you looked at Cal and Stanford's travel costs over the next 2 seasons, last season and this season? In the neighborhood of $46.5 million, just travel alone. So if you're a men's track and field in the South and Sun Belt's really popular. Bad example. If you're in a West Coast lacrosse system and you're not generating a ton of money for the school, see, I hope they don't cut men's rowing. Yeah. I hope I'm wrong, but I could see that coming into play here. So here's another thing. Roster limits. The settlement replaces scholarship limits with roster caps. It sparked a little bit of controversy to address concerns about athletes losing spots. A compromise allows schools to reinstate players cut during the 2024-2025 academic year without counting against the new roster limits. So this next year, you can bring somebody back that was cut. NIL oversight, a clearinghouse. Check this out, called NIL Go, which is going to be operated by Deloitte, will review NIL deals worth $600 or more to ensure quote unquote fair market value. What? So NIL Go is like a quasi agent for some of these players. And make no mistakes, these players, your high level ones, have agents. Not very good agents, but there's people. And I think that's what I worry about. People talk about the amount of problems that can happen, the neck jerk change in circumstances where people came up in poverty, and now all of a sudden, especially if you were coming straight from high school to the NBA when that was allowed, the neck jerk circumstance change from not having much to having everything at your disposal financially, and how that can affect a person. It can affect their circle around them. You have now accelerated that with college sports and pay to play. I know they're trying to get away from this quote unquote pay to play thing, but that's literally what it is. It's pay to play. Are schools going to have to take out workers' comp insurance plans on their players, on their football program, on their basketball program? I'm very interested to see how all that's going to be classified. Will players become considered employees? And I know that's a very small minor thing in the grand scheme, an important part of this, but you have now opened up. I guess what I'm saying is schools directly paying, which I have no problem with, schools directly paying players has now opened up institutions to possibly a lot more liability and or financial responsibility. So it might seem simple, 20.5 million that you can pay out to your athletes, a total of 20.5 million. Might seem simple, but now you've kind of opened Pandora's box when it comes to how players are going to be classified. What exactly are they being paid for? It's a really interesting thing. Show me the money, Dennis says. It's really interesting. So anyways, this whole NIL Go thing with Deloitte, again, let me repeat that. A clearinghouse called NIL Go. It's going to be monitored by Deloitte. Will review NIL deals worth 600 or more to ensure fair market value. That's going to be a problem too. Speaking about Pandora's box, wait till the clearinghouse, quote unquote, NIL Go, tells Alabama that's not fair market value. And then the kid ends up at Auburn for like $500,000 less. Just wait. There's going to be some major, I think, legal challenges to this. And again, where I started with this conversation is, what is the NCAA's role? What is it? You now have a clearinghouse, NIL Go, that's operated by a third party. The conferences are now basically running everything, including punishment for the teams in the conferences. NCAA, man, you are about to get your golden watch. And quite frankly, it can't come soon enough. They have wasted so much money that indirectly would have ended up benefiting the players on frivolous and stupid, I don't use that word often, but stupid lawsuits. Investigations about teams that put out peanut butter for the players' bagels. Investigations to see if that was a violation. Butter's okay, but you get to peanut butter. Think about, that's just one example. Players are going to be contractors. Everything will be contracts. Lawyers win. Hashtag 1%. Depending on how much the deal is and if they write the deal or the school has their lawyers write the deal. So anyways, you've got this clearinghouse. So here's your key dates. Settlement was signed on the 6th, so on Friday. Got announced late. Is this normal taxable income? Great question, Flores. If it's contract, hold on. If it's contract, then the tax is much higher. And here's the other thing that you're not thinking about. It's not, hey, I got paid $1 million to play football in 2025. Here's my 40%. It's not how it works. It's how it works federally. But for these players, when it comes to their state returns, wherever you play, you're subject to that tax rate. So sure, you've got your chunk of home games, but when you play in California, you're going to be paying the California tax. When you play in Oregon, you're going to be paying the Oregon tax. When you play in Alabama, you're going to pay the Alabama tax. It gets really complicated. That's why I said that neck jerk reaction for some of these kids from nothing to now, and they're not going to have all the money in the world, but they're going to have probably more money than their family has ever had for your high level recruits in your big sports. So Washington State, well, that's definitely going to be a pitch. 100% going to be a pitch. All these little things now come into play. So let's get back to your dates. So on Wednesday the 11th, the NIL Go portal launches. This was really quick. This judge waited right until the last second. June 15th, the opt-in deadline for schools to commit to revenue sharing. June 15th, July 1st, direct payments to athletes begin. July 6th, schools designate athletes exempt from roster limits. Start of 25-26, fall sports must meet roster limits except for designated athletes. Fall sports must meet roster limits except for designated athletes. So there you go. History of this thing. The settlement was driven by plaintiffs like former Arizona State swimmer Grant House and TCU basketball player Sedona Prince. Follows a bunch of legal debates. And like I said, it really goes back to the O'Bannon versus NCAA ruling that started this whole amateurism argument. So that's what you need to know. Here's basically some of the more condensed bullet points of this thing, but it's a massive change for the institutions. It's not a massive change for the way things are done within the football building, within the basketball meeting room. So it's funny. This I know why institutions did not necessarily want this, because now it puts a whole nother layer into athletics. Basically, if you're running a business, which make no mistake, these are businesses. These are 100% businesses. They have been for a long time, which is why there was the argument that players should get their fair share. But it puts more expense into running these businesses and some more nuance as well. So $20.5 million is the budget. What do you all think the ramifications are going to be? Are sports going to get cut? NCAA, are they on their way out? Does everything stay the same and we don't even notice it? What are your thoughts? Baki in the house. I am good, brother. How are you? It's been a minute. Hope you are doing well. Patrick in the house as well. Peter, players are going to be contractors. We hit that. Reclassify intramural sports while you're at it. Intramural sports are interesting because some do travel and play against other schools. And then you get the alternative sports a lot of times that are part of intramurals. But then you also, Patrick, at SDSU, the frats were sometimes, anyways, it was a weird thing with intramurals. Hofstra's men's football was a casualty. There you go. Exactly. So I think you're going to see, $20.5 million across all sports. Is it safe to say? I think I'm being very, very cautious here with my estimate. Is it safe to say 85% will be spent between basketball and football? With probably a 60-30 split between football and basketball? Or excuse me, a 60, I didn't do the math right. SDSU math. Interesting. This whole NIL clearinghouse too, to me, is just really weird. So, anybody have any grievances? Any grievances left out there today? Have I not given you enough to talk about? Everybody, chat going.
Are you not
slow.
entertained?
Are you not entertained today? We talked NBA Finals earlier. If you missed that, you can go back and watch it later. You can catch the audio on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Basically, my point that I was making is the adjustment. If Indiana is going to have any success, is they need to get Halliburton and Siakam out of the phone booth. They're not able currently to create space for themselves to get anything going offensively. Everything is coming within the team flow. You need somebody that's going to be able to step up and score individually. You got to get Hali going downhill. I think adding TJ McConnell, adding more of his minutes with Halliburton on the floor could be the right adjustment for that. So if you're just joining us, that is what the adjustment is for me. We've got Grant coming up here in a little bit. Haunted Horse chiming in. The way I see it is this: you don't pay athletes from smaller sports, but you can still give them scholarships like they already do. Scholarships, again, scholarships are gone. Understand that. Scholarships are gone. If a player's on the field, they're under scholarship. If a player is dressed the way I understand this, you are under scholarships. That is why the roster limits are the important thing. The settlement replaces scholarship limits, meaning the amount or the number of scholarships you can give to players with roster caps. So if you're on the roster, the way I understand it, you are under scholarship. If you are on the active roster and dressed to play, that's why teams have to get down. It's like the pros, right? There's just so much that needs, it feels quick. I don't know that the institutions, I mean, granted, the settlement has been waiting there. They've agreed to it. The NCAA has, so you know what was probably coming, but it's just a lot of little things that need to come together quickly. So we'll see if Corn Dog, I know I need Corn Dog's opinion on this. He'd say, don't leave out volleyball. Somebody's going to get left out. Unfortunately, somebody will get left out. We do have some more from The Athletic on it. If you want to keep going through it, the NCAA and the power conferences, which are the ACC, Big 12, Big 10, and Pac-12 SEC, were defendants in the settlement. See, that's so funny. Do you see what I'm saying between the NCAA and the conferences? If the NCAA was all ruling and in charge of all this, it would have been the NCAA. And the NCAA signing off on behalf of every member institution. But the NCAA was co-defendants with the ACC, the Big 12, the Big 10, the Pac-12, the SEC. Am I wrong to say we are getting close to a point, or we are well on our way to considering the NCAA basically as a conference? Just a conference. There's no... I have no idea. I'm going to dig into this more as we go along with the NCAA. Because before, the NCAA made sense. Enforcement, when athletes weren't getting paid, I get it. Now, and that's why the NCAA pushed back for as long as they could on this. Because they knew the second this snowball started going downhill, the need for them was going to become less and less and less and less. Incredible. So back to The Athletic. So they agreed the money that we talked about, the 2.8. Division I athletes were not allowed to sign NIL deals dating back to 2016, which is why the damages are spread over 10 years. So if you played from 2016 to 2024, you may be eligible for money from your school. Judge Claudia Watson, Northern District of California. That went down right here. Very interesting. Some of the objectors delayed approval, largely citing the settlement's new roster limits. These roster limits, which replace sport-by-sport scholarship limits, cap the maximum roster size per team, while allowing every roster spot to receive a scholarship. This is pro sports. It's incredible. Incredible stuff. And of course, we've got the knuckleheads doing this. All right. One more grievance. Then we're going to get out the door because we've got hockey tonight. You got Grant coming back at 8 o'clock. Don't forget tomorrow, our favorite day of the week. If you know, you know. If you don't, make sure you tell somebody else. Jerry Reynolds will be here tomorrow.
It's Jerry Reynolds Tuesday, let the good times roll. King's legend in the house, he's got the game on scroll.
Chop it up with him about the NBA Finals. If you have questions for Jerry, you can get in here. We'll get those answered. Peter's working on an obscure name. Tristan is working on something ping pong? No, golf related. You're going golf. Adam's going to do something wrestling, I'm sure. So it'll be fun. We have great conversations with Jerry. Join us for that. Again, Napes, 8 o'clock tonight. That will be a good show as well. I should probably take down Tristan's comment. I'm talking about Napes. That's what she said. If you don't like that, not that's what she said. It's the name of the channel. JR. Going to study all night to get the best question. Your sport. People around here are just creating brands left and right. Left and right. You know, I will say this. I don't know that anybody else in the chat. Well, I'm pretty sure Jerry knows Baki now. He knows Todora because of the Holy Moly Jim Bob Bully. But Tristan, you're starting to build yourself a little niche with Jerry Reynolds. You know, if Jerry Reynolds gets back in the game, he might hire you.
Tristan, pay attention. Pay attention.
Yeah, come on, Tristan. Come on, Tristan.
Come on.
All right. So anyways, let's get to my last grievance. It's so basic. I've probably done it before here on the channel, but it's so true. And I think it can relate to every.
The airing of grievances.
Peter was talking.
I got a lot of problems with you people. Now you're going to hear about it.
So Peter was talking about me having, or Liam having one of those guns. Is that what it is? You called it a combine or combine? I don't know. To shoot at my last grievance when people don't put the pile back. We actually have a salt fly gun and it has a laser beam. If I had an Austin Powers quote, I would play it. I don't. It has a laser beam. I cannot stand flies. They're the most disgusting. Is it fair to call them a creature? I guess creatures. Look at how their life starts. Look at what they start from and turn into. Look at how they eat. Everything's disgusting about flies, to the degree that if there is a fly in my house, I cannot concentrate. I have delayed shows because flies have been in the house, or a fly has been in the house. And I had a fly in the house this last weekend. And for some of you, it might not bug you at all. I just find them disgusting. I'm not going to get into it. You can do your own Google search, but they're just filthy insects. Gross. Nothing good about them. What do flies do that's good? I'm sure there's something out there that they're good for. I just haven't found it yet. So anyways, here's my grievance with the damn fly. After I try to kill you like 4 or 5 times, in the few times that it has happened where I have given up and walked away and I've lost sight of you, usually that you'd think it'd be the end, right? That would be the end. The fly would go find its own little place in the house and it would stay the hell away from the thing that was trying to kill it. But no, what do flies do? All they freaking do is invade your space. You could be in a 2,000 square foot home, had tried to kill that thing 10 times, and 10 minutes later, when you're sitting on the couch, you're swatting at your leg. You're swatting at your head. So not only are they disgusting, they are stupid. Why would you not go mind your own business? I don't know. I'm very passionate. Flies to me, give me bees, give me snakes, give me spiders, give me termites, give me cockroaches, give me any of that stuff before a fly. I just can't do it. The buzz, everything. So my grievance is that flies, even when you're around, and I'm allowing you to be around, you can't leave me alone. And you know that's true.
The airing of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people. Now, you're going to hear about it.
It's not just true for me. That's what they do. Google search. Flies eat up food, then vomit it back, and they slurp it up again. I didn't want to go there, but that's correct. My cat kills flies, and your dog doesn't. No, Gordo does. Gordo will. It's funny because so we have a couple of Venus flytraps, like the actual plants. So if we kill the fly, we feed them to the plant. But many times we won't realize that they're in. If a door opens this time of year, I'm like, Jen, Liam, if they leave it cracked whatsoever, because that's the other thing about flies. They're so stupid. They're waiting to come in, and then they get in, and all they're trying to do is either get out, avoid being killed, or buzz around your head. They don't ever go do their own thing. I like haunted horse. Can you Google why they're constantly darting at you? It just doesn't make sense to me. And they're gross. Flies break down decaying matter, makes it even more gross. Load up on the salt. Yes. I've never been hunting, like deer hunting. I've never been duck hunting. Never been well, I can't say I've never been hunting because once, twice, maybe 3 times a year, I'll hit the backyard with that salt gun and I will search the flies out that keep darting at our door anytime we open it up. Google says flies dart at you because they hate this show. Yeah, you know what, Horse? You are 100% an Android person. Siri would never say something like that. Come on, Horse. Burning my show down.
Burn it down!
Juggernaut. Been watching old sci-fi movies? No. I had one fly in the house, and I didn't have access to the salt gun. So what's the next best thing to get? A swatter. I swatted at that thing left and right. I was swatting at it while it was in the air. We had like a 25-minute standoff. Then I'd go to the man cave to sit down and go watch the hockey game, go to the arena and watch the hockey game via VR. And all I hear bzz, 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 bzz. Then I start slapping at my leg. it's just what Horse said, what they do. Like, they're just filthy. Decaying matter. There is nothing good that a fly is eating. And how do flies even come about? Like, if I could do something to preemptively get them the heck away from my house, and you know what? I will give you this. I'm going to give you this. I'm going to concede something really quick. This will rarely happen on this show. I am going to concede that in this case, cats are better than dogs. In this one case, because a cat doesn't have to go outside to use the restroom. Cat does it in its box. But then the debate comes down to, would you rather have your house smell like you own cats or deal with the fly once in a while? And now I'm at a crossroads. I don't know, because you know what? I talked about the dump having a very distinct smell earlier when we were talking about my first grievance with people that pick through your bulky waste pickups and don't put them back the way they were piled. I said, it saves you time from going to the dump. And I talked about the smell, and the dump being one of those things that has one distinct smell. It's never replicated. I take that back. There's two things that have very distinct smells in this life: the dump and cat owners. Your house, your homes with cats have a very distinct smell as well. And don't tell me I'm wrong. The second you walk into maybe you are the hyper responsible cat owner, maybe. And you've got like the thing that cleans out the litter box itself. You never have to do anything with it. You've got super clean cats. Let's say you're not that. You're just regular cat person, or maybe you're not like right at par with regular cat person. Maybe you're a little bit lazy on cleaning that litter box. I'm telling you, you can smell cats right away. You know, without seeing the cat. Oh, cat person, huh? You have cats. Don't tell me I'm wrong. People that don't change the litter are the people with smelly eyes. I'm just saying, the dog masks the cat's odor. So you have both. Okay. Are you you're not included in this conversation, Dennis, if you have both. It's either one or the other. You're in the middle. You're the third party, Dennis. I'm wrong. I'm telling you, the dump fermenting waste. Yeah, there you go, methane. I can go out in my lawn. Exactly. That's why I conceded that point. But then I remembered about the smell. The cat smell, man. It's nasty. No bueno. No bueno whatsoever. Like, I would rather sit through 2 hours of this lady.
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit.
Front row.
Taste the butter spread.
That I would rather get front row tickets. I'd rather pull up a chair in her thrift shop and sit there for 2 hours. Liam wants a cat. So, dude, we'll see. We will see. That's what I said. You go both ways, which means you can't be one way or the other. You go both ways. You're the third party. We have a staunch debate here between cat people and dog people. You're either on one side of the fence or the other. Dennis, you're like the referee, okay? You see it both ways. So while I respect it, that whole process too, quite honestly, of trying to get the dog to like the cat and the cat to like the dog, that could go wrong really quick. That could go wrong really quick for either of them. For you, it could go wrong. It's risky, man. I don't know. We'll see. Liam and the cats, I don't know. Cat litter is made from anti-nuke materials. Interesting. Yeah, Peter, I'm not quite there yet. I'll do 2 hours of her.
Taste the goodness of the biscuit with the butter spread.
But 2 hours of DJ Haunted Horse? I don't know. It's hard work. I bet it is. I bet it is. I told Liam, I said, son, you can have a cat. It just needs to be hairless. It needs to be a bald cat. I don't want to deal with pet hair. Is that too big of an ask that the cat's bald? I can't be wrong here. Isn't that meeting in the middle? Like Dennis, the cat and the dog? I'm meeting in the middle. No hair. That biscuit. Yeah, exactly. Man, fun show today. Weird show today. Looking forward to having Jerry tomorrow here on the channel. Looking forward to this game tonight as well. I'm not going to say the NHL final. It's the Stanley Cup final. It's not the finals. It is the final. Yeah, dude, you've seen what that dog does. Okay. So Patrick, are they both? And here's the other thing about cat person. Some of you cat people, you think it's okay to just let your cats loose throughout the neighborhood. That's not okay. Come on. Yeah, the shedding's nuts. Patrick has both. So the dog's like outside, the cat's inside. They both inside. Finch is a cat person. Damn, Finch. Sad, man. Team cat, huh? Horse, you know what drop I need right now. You know the exact drop that I need. All right, we are out. Enjoy the hockey game tonight. I am going to do that. I'm going to be watching via VR. That is really cool. Some of you know the other venture that I have been working on, and they have all of the sports packages set up for us on VR sets. So we're able to watch anything in the NHL. By the way, if you have the ability, the NHL is streaming the game for free in VR. You don't have to buy a ticket. You can be in the arena tonight when that game starts for free. So go check that out. Again, Grant, 8 o'clock tonight. No way. Stay inside. Okay. All right. They're all inside. Horse, siding with me there. Don't like outdoor cat owners. Yeah, because the outdoor cat then starts using the restroom on people's lawns. And when a cat uses the restroom, you know a cat's used the restroom. Or they start going and becoming somebody else's cat. They spend as much time at your neighbor's house as they do your house. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. So anyways, Grant, 8 o'clock tonight. Join him. Jerry Reynolds tomorrow here on the show. Joins us at 4. Kings Court begins at 3. So we'll be breaking down the hockey game. Whatever else pops up in the news, we'll talk some more about the NCAA settlement. I think there's a ton of layers to get into there, and also more before a game. It's a best of 5. First team to 3 in the NBA Finals. We'll talk more about it before they tip off Game 3 on Wednesday. If you're just joining us, the adjustment that Rick Carlisle is going to have to find. Got to find a way to get Siakam and Halliburton out of a phone booth. Neither have been able to create their own shot in this series. You can't have a team without a player or two that can create their own shot. Because then the defense, go back and listen. You'll hear my explanation, but it's clear that Oklahoma City has taken Halliburton's hasn't shown up double negative. They have taken him out. So I think you got to mix in some TJ. I think you got to go a little bit less with the size on the guard line. If you're Indy, you got to go speed over size. Got to do it. So Grant, 8:00 tonight. Go Kings. Light the beam. We'll see you tomorrow. Courts dismissed.
To get your butter spread all on me. I don't like the way it mixes.